In today's video, I have to survive 100 days as an Iceologer. And also, I have 3 objectives. First, destroy a village. Second, build my very own outpost. And finally, defeat the Ender Dragon. Can I survive these 100 days as an Iceologer in hardcore Minecraft? Keep watching and find out. So here we go, our journey begins on day 1, and the first thing I did is I looked around and noticed I was at this tiger biome, which was great. But the first thing I wanted to do was to go and get myself some wood, so I punched down this tree with my bare hands and then decided to go and craft some brand new tools. But I now wanted to go around and find a cave, so I headed out across the lands. But then, there it was, a cave. This was great, there was plenty of iron here, and of course some nice coal, which was great. And that should do it. That should be plenty of materials. So I left the cave and now needed to go and find some food. So I headed out across the lands and found some pigs. But then, as I was making my way through the forest, I couldn't believe it. There it was, a pillager outpost. This was great. I was super excited, so I went over to the outpost and went to go and say hello to all the pillagers that were nearby. But then, as I was about to enter the outpost, I could see that there was this pillager just standing there. And he wanted to tell me something. He wanted to tell me if that I've seen any villagers around. Apparently there's this mysterious villager that's going around. So I said no, I have not seen this villager whatsoever. And he also mentioned that I should probably know he was able to capture 2 of the villager's friends. And he also mentioned that if I could stay here and help them fight off any intruders. So I thought it'd be great, I don't have a home just yet and here would be perfect. Anyways, I was a little bit intrigued and I wanted to go and check out the basement. As I made it to the bottom, I could see that there was these 2 villagers. These must be the villagers that they captured. As you can see, there's one with a red coat right here, and of course like this white coat, which he's probably some sort of scientist. Who knows? Anyways, I also looked around the basement and found this chest, and I could see that there was some bread. Now this was great, I was getting a little bit hungry. But as I was searching around, there it was, an axe. Now these axes are extremely rare, so I'll be sure to take this. Anyways, I said goodbye to the villagers and decided to leave the basement. And I now wanted to find a place to store all my items. I thought here looks perfect. So I placed in some barrels, my crafting table, and of course my furnace. And then I decided to go and cook up that iron that I collected from the caves earlier. And I have to say, our base is getting along quite well, but there's one thing we're missing. We needed a bed, so I headed out across the land searching for some sheep. But what I found was not what I was expecting. There it was, a village. This was really bad. So I carefully made our way over to the village, and I couldn't believe my very own eyes. I could see that there was this golem, and that was no normal golem, oh no. So I went for a closer look, but it got worse. I could see that there was 2 of these golems. This was really bad. I had to go back to the pillager camp and tell the leader immediately what I found. So I rushed back to camp and told the leader about what I found. And he said that we should start preparing immediately if we was going to take down this village. So I rushed back to the outpost and decided to go and make myself some iron boots. And of course a shield. But sadly, I didn't have quite enough materials to make a full set of iron armor. So I headed to the caves and went to go and get myself some more materials. Alright, that should do it. That should be all the materials we need. It is time to take down this village. It is now time. It is now time to take down this village. So me and the pillagers, we stormed the village. So we arrived at the village and we immediately started taking down the iron golems. And I have to say, they did not stand a chance against us. Oh no, we was way too strong. And then after that, we also took down the villagers, and they did not stand a chance either. I also encountered the new variant of the iron golem, but luckily, I was able to take him down with ease. Now, there's only one last thing to do, set the village on fire. So I made a flint and steel, and set the entire village on fire. Now this will show the villagers. Well, I have to say, this place looks completely destroyed. Anyways, I think it's time we go back to camp. So I safely travelled back home, and after that fight, I was able to get myself loads of iron. So I decided to make a full set of fresh tools. Hey, and also I decided to do a bit of decorating. So I made some dark oak fences, and decided to upgrade the outpost a little bit. And I have to say, it definitely makes a difference. But I also kind of wanted some food, I was getting kind of hungry. So I cleared out a bit of space and made a very simple potato farm. Nothing special really, but it will do for now. But I also think it's about time I start working on a bit of an outpost. I gathered up all the materials that I could and started construction on my very own outpost. And I decided to use some nice spruce wood and of course some stone bricks, which actually went quite well. I almost forgot about leaves, so I made sure to place those in as well. And there it is, that looks a lot better. But what's a house without windows? I don't know. So I made some windows and there it is. So I'll give you guys a little tour. Starting off here, we have a bit of a stairway which leads up and around, and there it is, my very own outpost. And I have to say, it kind of looks like a castle than an outpost, but I like it. And of course, if we enter the outpost, you can see I have some furnaces, a load of chests for storage, and of course a crafting table. And also, this chest over here is where I store all my emeralds. And the good thing was we almost had a stack of emeralds, which was great. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I have to say, I'm pretty happy with this build. I think it looks amazing. Anyways, to finish off the day, I decided to go and cook up some potatoes, because the next day I wanted to go on a little adventure. So day 15, I headed out across the lands, searching to see what I could find. And then, as I was searching around, I stumbled across this ravine, which was great. I could see that there was loads of iron here. So I made a way down right here and gathered up some iron. As I was gathering up some iron, I noticed that there was this axolotl. So I thought, why not keep this axolotl as my very own pet? We now got a axolotl pet. Anyways, my journey continues through the caves and I was able to find myself loads more iron, which was amazing. You can never have too much iron. But even better, as I turned this corner, there it was, some amethyst crystals, just what I was looking for. But then, you wouldn't believe it, there it was, a mine shaft. So I decided to go and get myself some chain. I may be needing this. And then, I was able to find this minecart, and as I opened up this chest, I could see that there was this golden apple. Also found a little bit of lapis, so I collected some of that. But then, I found a second minecart, and as I opened up this minecart, I could see that there was this totem of regeneration. I'll be sure to take this. Who knows what powers this holds. Anyways, as I was making my way through the caves, there it was, diamonds. This was great. So after collecting a few diamonds, I decided to go and craft myself a diamond pickaxe. I would need this for obsidian, so I went to go and find myself some lava, and I gathered up some obsidian. 15 pieces? Yeah, that should be plenty of obsidian. Anyways, it's time to go back home. So I finally arrived home and the first thing I did is I smelted up all the iron that I collected from the caves. And then I decided to put the totem of regeneration on an item frame so I could have it on display. But I almost forgot. I almost forgot about my axolotl. So I decided to build her very own home. Here looks perfect. So I spent a couple days clearing out a massive space, removing all the dirt. And I have to say, it's not too bad. It looks alright. Anyways, it's time to place in the axolotl. And I could tell the axolotl was very happy. Well, I now think it's time we make the Nether portal. So I placed in all the obsidian and lit it up. And then headed through, of course. As I arrived on the other side, I noticed that there were some bones, and I'll need these bones for my potato farm. So I gathered up all the bones that I could get. Hey, and also I stumbled across a crimson forest, which was great. So I gathered up some crimson wood. I might be needing this. And once I was getting myself some wood, I also found some glowstone, so I made sure to gather up some of that as well. But then, as I was getting myself some quartz, I noticed off in the distance, there it was, a bastion. I had to go over there, so I made a way over to the bastion and entered. And the first thing I saw was some nether wart. Now I'll need this for potions. So I carefully made a way over and gathered up some nether wart. But there was also this chest, and as I opened up this chest, I could see that there was pig step. Now I'll be sure to take this. And also, I found a second chest, and I could see that there was this diamond pickaxe. Anyways, I continued searching around the bastion, and I was able to find myself a bit of ancient debris, and also this bone cudgel. And this item looked extremely rare, so I'll be sure to take this. But I also wanted to test it out. So I headed out into the Soul Valleys and found this skeleton, and I have to say, it was extremely powerful. I'll be sure to keep this. Anyways, my journey continues through the Nether once again, and I was able to find a Nether fortress. This was great, so I travelled over there and started to get myself some blaze rods. I'll need these for potions. Hey, and guess what? I also found some nether wart. Now, you can never have too much nether wart, so I gathered up all the nether wart that I could. On my way home, I now wanted to go and get myself some ender pearls. So I headed to the warped forest and took down a load of endermen. So I get home, and the first thing I wanted to do was to make a brewing station. So I did. I used some nice black stone and of course some stone bricks, which looked very nice. And of course I placed it in a chest added a brewing stand and placed in some water. But of course, it is time to make some potions. So I started by making some strength potions and then thought, why not make some swiftness potions? You never know when I might need these. And I think it's now time we go and find the Stronghold. So I made some Eyes of Ender and headed out across the land, searching for the Stronghold. And finally, by the next day, after a bit of digging, there it was, the Stronghold. And I was able to find this chest and I could see that there was this diamond. This was great, but then, as I was making my way around the Stronghold, there it was, the end portal. Wow, there it is. But I wasn't here for the end portal today. I needed the library, and shortly after a little bit of time, there it was, the library. This was great, so I gathered up all the bookshelves that I could get, and also noticed that there was a few chests right here, with some nice enchanted books, so I made sure to take them as well. But then, you also wouldn't believe it, I was able to find myself a second library. This was great, and the good thing was, there was also loads more enchanted books. This was truly amazing. Anyways, we got what we needed, and it's now time to leave the Stronghold and return home. The next day, I get home and decided to now make the enchantment table, and there it is. Wow. But of course, we will need a place for this enchantment table to go, so I thought here looks perfect. So I spent a couple days constructing this building, and I have to say, it looks pretty good if I do say so myself. Anyways, it's time to place in the enchantment table, and there it is. But I almost forgot about the bookshelves, so I made sure to place them in as well. And I think it's now time we do a bit of enchanting. And I was able to get myself this efficiency 4 pickaxe. I was a little bit disappointed, so I enchanted another pickaxe, get myself efficiency 3 and unbreaking 3. But then, as I was looking at my enchanted pickaxes, I heard this noise. Immediately, I knew this was really bad, so I rushed over to the outpost as quick as I could. I could see we was under attack by these furnace golems. This was not good, so I rushed over there as quick as I could and went to go and save the pillagers. And I have to say, that was really close. If they set fire to the outpost, that would be it. But I had to see if there was any more intruders. So I made a way up to the top of the outpost and had a look. And surprisingly, there was no more furnace golems. Wow, that was close. So the next day I decided to go back to the village and find out where these furnace golems came from. So I headed back to the village and I could see this place was very destroyed. Just look at this place. As I was looking around, I also noticed that there was some equipment here I could maybe take, like these smokers, and of course I found a stone cutter and some spare furnaces. So I made sure to go and collect those. But then, as I was making my way around the village, I couldn't believe it. There it was, some iron, a blast furnace, and of course a pumpkin head. This must be how the villagers craft their new golem. This was not good. Now this would be risky, but I wanted to find out what happened. So I collected up the pumpkin head, also collected up the iron blocks, and placed them in. But then, I was super surprised. There it was, a furnace golem. I kind of panicked and I backed up, but then the furnace golem spotted me and started attacking me. This was not good. So I sprinted for my life, but luckily, this furnace golem got stuck and I was easily able to take him out. And I have to say, that was really close. I wonder how they're doing this. Anyways, it's time to return home. Well, I think it's now time we upgrade our armor. Our armor's not looking so good, and we can do with our upgrade. So I headed to the caves, and I was able to find myself another Iceologer pair, which was amazing. But now I wanted to go and get myself some diamonds. So I did. And that should do it. That should be plenty of diamonds. So I'll travel back home and make a full set of diamond armor, and of course some nice tools. Very nice. And then I decided to go and enchant my diamond chestplate, get myself protection 3, which is pretty nice, and then also my helmet, get myself protection 4. But there was one problem, we kind of ran out of levels. So I decided to go back to the Nether once again and get myself a load more levels. Yep, that should do it. 50 levels should be plenty. So I'll get home and enchant my bow, get myself power 4 and infinity, and then I enchanted the rest of my armor and tools. And there it is, we now got a full set of diamond armor and tools. Very nice. Now let's hope this keeps us safe from those furnace golems, but we're not done just yet. Oh no, I now wanted to build a giant wall surrounding our base, so I gathered up all the materials that I could and started construction on this wall. Day 70, here it is. This should keep us a lot safer from those furnace golems. And I also decided to build some brand new farms, like this potato farm right here, and also decided to build a carrot farm. So we have plenty of food, and I have to say, it does look pretty cool as well. This should definitely keep the furnace golems away. Yes, I also wanted to go and check up on the villagers to see how they was doing. And yeah, they was doing pretty well, I think. They didn't look too happy, but I think they was alright. Well, I think it's now time we go on a bit of an adventure. But before I left, I made sure to tell the pillager to keep an eye out, just in case we had any intruders. Anyways, I headed out. After a little bit of exploring, I could see that there was this jungle and there was loads of bamboo. So I gathered up a little bit of bamboo and then I discovered that there was some pandas. So I went over to them and went to go and say hi. And I could see that there was very happy pandas. Anyways, I continued searching around the forest and found some melons. Now I'd need these for potions. And as I left the jungle, I stumbled across this pillager outpost and I could see that there was some pillagers. So I went up to them and said hi as well. And then I made it to the top of the outpost and found this chest. And I could see that there was this blast fungus and of course this void cola crossbow. And then I went to go and test it out to see if it worked. And it did. Very nice. Anyways, my journey continues and I found all these roses. And I have to say, I've never seen so many roses in my life. Wait a minute, is that Desert Temple? Yes, it is. I found a Desert Temple, which was really good. But sadly, there wasn't anything good. Just this golden apple. So I left and stumbled across a ice spikes biome, which was great. I could see there were some polar bears, and of course what seems to be the Titanic. So I went over there and went to go and investigate, and I was able to find this chest, and I could see that there was all these treasures. This was amazing. Yes, just what I was looking for, a Badlands biome. This was great, and I could see that there was this minecart. So I opened up this minecart and found another golden apple. And then I decided to go and enter the mine shafts and find a load of gold. And then finally, I gathered up some terracotta. I'll need this for my builds. But then, as I was travelling across the lands, I could see off in the distance, there it was, a village. I was very intrigued, so I headed over there and went to go and investigate. But as I made my way over to this village, I could see this place was completely destroyed. There was nothing left. I mean, just look at this place. There's nothing left. All the villagers have gone. Well, I guess then I should continue exploring to see what else I can find. This place? Yeah, kind of strange. But then, on day 80, as I was travelling through the forest, I noticed that this birch tree was broken. So I went for a closer look and I couldn't believe it. I also noticed that there was a campfire. But once again, as I looked to my right, I could see that there was this base of some sort. I had to go and investigate. So I placed down my boat and sailed over there. And as I made it over to this mysterious base of some sort, I went looking around to see who I could find. And then, as I was looking around, there it was, a Vindicator. And then he started walking towards me. I could see he wanted to tell me something. He wondered who I was. I told him that I was on his side. Then the Vindicator told me this was his place. All this stuff here, he built it all. This was his home. And apparently, the Vindicator has been spying on this furnace golem. And he needed my help to take down this furnace golem's village. So I said, yes, I'll be sure to help you take down this village. And then he said, but first, we will need some better armor. So we needed to head to his armory room. So we did. But as I was looking out these chests right here, there he was, the Vindicator. And he had some brand new armor for me. And it was Royal Guard armor, extremely rare. But yet, this stuff here would be perfect against the furnace golems. And then the Vindicator said we're now ready to take down this village. But I did say to the Vindicator how we're supposed to get there. Apparently, the Vindicator has some Ravengers, which we can take. So we headed to the stables and we mounted up and headed to the village. Making our way to the village, I noticed off in the distance that there was this mansion, so I went for a close look and I couldn't believe it. This place was completely destroyed, so I told the Vindicator what happened to this place. He told me long ago, before the mansion was burnt, there was this evoker that lived here, but now nobody lives here. It's completely abandoned. But then before I could say any more, the Vindicator said we should probably continue riding, just in case the furnace golem returned home. And he told me that he'll tell me the rest of the story later. So we continue our journey to find this village. And then finally, after a long trip, we finally arrived at the village. So we used our spyglasses to see what we could see, and we noticed that there was loads of villagers here. But I was getting kind of hungry, and luckily the Vindicator bought some spare food. Anyways, we had some food, and then we charged the village, and immediately took down this iron golem. Luckily, he was no match for us, and was easily able to take him down. And then after that, me and the Vindicator, we went around the entire village, taking down all the villagers. That should do it. The entire village has been destroyed. So I met back up with the Vindicator and he told me that we've done it. We've destroyed the village and there was more reinforcements on the way. So we should probably get out of here. So me and the Vindicator, we headed back to our Ravengers. Well, we finally make it back to camp and I now wanted to know about the evoker. So, the Vindicator and I sat around the campfire and now the Vindicator wanted to tell me about the evoker. Apparently, long ago, there was this evoker that lived in a woodland mansion. Everything was normal until one day, the mansion was burnt down by someone we don't know who. This forced the evoker to leave the mansion and find a new place to live. So, he travelled across the lands, forests, for days, looking for a new home. And finally, he was able to find a nearby outpost. So he set up camp, building his own outpost, and finally, he had his own camp set up. But then, once again, everything was good until one day, the evoker vanished. He was never to be seen again. This let nature take over his base and turn it into a wasteland. Everything he built was ruined. But then I asked the Vindicator, what does he think happened to the evoker? He thinks the evoker is still out there somewhere, but we may be able to never find him, ever again. Well then, it's the next day and it's now time to return back home. But before I left, the Vindicator wanted to give me a gift. He wanted to give me one of his Ravengers. This was epic. So I mounted the Ravenger and before I left, I made sure to say goodbye to the Vindicator. Anyways, it is now time to travel home. So I said my final goodbyes and headed out. And finally, we travel back home. And there it is. It is nice to be back home, finally. So I headed back into my base and noticed that the leader wanted to tell me something. So I approached the leader and he told me apparently off in the distance there's been some strange sightings. They can't tell what it is, but we should be keeping our eye out, just in case. But I now wanted to build my pet Ravenger his very own home. Use a variety of different blocks like some stone bricks, some spruce wood, some spruce fences, and of course some spruce stairs. Also use some cobblestone walls, which actually went really well with this build. And finally, on day 95, here it is. It looks pretty awesome if I do say so myself. As you can see, I added a few chests around right here, and if we enter through here, we got some extra stable areas. Back here we have a few chests where we can store plenty of our items, just in case we need some extra storage. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I could tell Max was very happy. Wow, there it is. Well, I now needed to go and get myself some blaze rods and of course some ender pearls. So I did. Alright, that should do it. That should be plenty of ender pearls. It's now time. It's now time. It is now time to take down the Ender Dragon. But before I left, I made sure to say goodbye to all my pets, like my axolotls and of course Max, the Ravager. I had to do this. I had to defeat the Ender Dragon once and for all. So I headed to the Stronghold, and there it was, the Ender Portal. So I placed in all the Eyes of Ender, and the portal opened. And there it is. So I didn't hesitate and I jumped through, and there she was, the Ender Dragon. But I knew what had to be done. I had to take down the end crystals as soon as possible. So that's what I did. Luckily my shots were on point, and I was hitting every shot. And just like that, there it is. All the end crystals have been destroyed. It is now time to take down the Ender Dragon. This is it. It is now time to end this fight once and for all. So I waited for the right opportunity and I struck, taking down the Ender Dragon. And there it is. Wow, we did it. Wow, there it is. We did it. We defeated the Ender Dragon. This was great. So the first thing I did is I gathered up all the XP that was here, and I have to say, there was a lot of XP, which was amazing. But I couldn't forget about the Ender Egg, so I made sure to gather up that as well. And there it is. And there's only one last thing to do. Travel back home. But then, as I was on my way back home, I could not believe my very own eyes. I could see my entire base has been set on fire. I could not believe this. Just look at this place. It's been completely destroyed. As I looked around, I could see nobody. Everybody was gone. And I also noticed that there was some TNT right here. But as I looked to my right, I could see there was this giant hole. And as I made a way down right here, I noticed that the villagers were gone. This was really bad. I could not believe this. They escaped. But then I thought about my pets. I wanted to see if they was alright. So I sprinted the fastest I could to the stable, and as I made a way over there, I could not believe my eyes. I could see Max has been eliminated. I couldn't believe it. I will get my revenge. As I made it up to my base, I could see my axolotls were safe. This was great, but sadly, we lost our Ravager. But then, as I turned around, I could see my door was wide open. I knew this was bad, and I was right. All my stuff has been stolen. My totem of regeneration, and of course, all my emeralds. I could not believe this. Everything is gone. I can't believe it. My entire base has been completely destroyed. Just look at this place. I wonder who did this. I will get my revenge.